Welcome back to another normal baseball podcast. Today we got a lot of Hall of Fame talk and a couple other things to go over. Let's get into it. Welcome back to another normal baseball podcast. I'm Alex. That's Lewis. Milo is right there on the blitzball strike zone. Got a lot to go over since we last actually did news. Obviously, we did the interview on Tuesday, but now we have some actual news to go over. Obviously, the Hall of Fame happened. A couple other things with the lockout. A couple of sad but interesting stories.
Let me cut you off.
Go for it.
Let's talk about the most important news. The new jerseys that we both have on right now, I think are top tier.
I was about to talk about that too. So I'm wearing an American League 2019 practice jersey from the All-Star game.
Gorgeous.
And then what do you got on? You gotta show us.
Got on here a Texas Rangers jersey. It's absolutely stunning, and it's of America's favorite ball player. We got Rougned Odor, baby.
Oh yeah. I love Rugi.
Yankees legend and savior of America.
The best to ever do it.
And best Baltimore Orioles player ever.
I was about to talk about that. We've been going Fanatics. They got these insane like sales. If you go look at stuff on sale, you could just like buy random stuff. Like I bought a. It's coming soon. We both actually bought one. Not planned, but we just kind of happened. We both bought a 2019 Nationals World Series shirt.
Yeah,
like
championship shirt.
It was $4. So like why
How do
not?
you say no?
Exactly.
Fanatics, we would love to have a deal. That's the last I'll say of that company until I sign a contract with them.
No, I don't. I like it. It's fun. It's just fun because everything's so cheap when you go to like the lowest price section. It's nice.
Yeah. Definitely a good shopping.
That's where I got this. This was like $20, $25, something like that.
This is an official Nike jersey, like right here. Got the Nike check mark and everything, for $40 with handling and taxes. Yeah, shipping is free.
I mean, obviously,
but like, how do you say no?
Obviously, Rugi isn't.
He ain't no Rangers Rugi.
He's not on the Rangers, but that's why it was. But he's still all time great on the Rangers.
All time great. I mean, the Yankees are planning to retire his number, hopefully.
Oh, of course. All right. Well,
let's get
into the actual stuff now. We got Hall of Fame. We actually haven't talked since the Hall of Fame. A week from today, or no, not today. Sorry. A week from last Tuesday. They announced the Hall of Fame. A lot of controversy surrounding it. But first of all, let's just round of applause. David Ortiz, first ballot Hall of Famer. In my opinion, okay, well, first I'll preface it. 77.9% of the vote. Obviously,
barely squeaked in.
Well, 2.9% higher. It's a little. He made it comfortable amount.
Yeah.
I'll just give a little stats for Ortiz's career. Obviously, now that he's a Hall of Famer, Big Papi. In his career, he batted .286 with a .380 on base, .931 OPS, 541 homers, 1,786 RBIs, 632 doubles, and a 55.3 WAR. He was 12th in all-time for doubles and 17th all-time homers. He might have been considered the greatest clutch hitter in the postseason ever by stat numbers. In his postseason, he batted .289, 947 slugging, 17 homers, and a 63.3 championship win probability added, which basically means by him being on the field during a postseason game, it gives his team a 63.3% chance of winning a World Series.
Which is insane.
Which is pretty good. pretty good.
let's riff through it real quick right now. Both Alex and I are diehard Yankee fans, but I will admit there will always be a soft spot in my heart for David Ortiz. I mean, like Alex just mentioned, the best postseason clutch player of all time. I mean, how can you not think of that grand slam that he hit off the Tigers in Fenway Park? I mean, it's one of the most iconic things in Boston Red Sox recent history, really. I mean, the man knew how to do it. He was a class act. I mean, also a true champion off the field, was able to survive a brutal attack out in the Dominican Republic. I mean, hats off to you, Big Poppy. One hell of a career. Sad that you'd have to torture my Red Sox for it, my Yankees for it.
Hey, yo, watch what you're saying there.
But congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, in the words of Alex Rodriguez,
I said, Poppy, can he play baseball? He said, man, can he play baseball?
the answer is yes. He can play baseball, and he was very good at it. Using out the new soundboard.
Very, very good at it.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, in my opinion, if I'm being honest, obviously I do think he deserved Hall of Fame. I don't think he deserved first ballot, especially considering some of the other guys who are on this ballot, which we'll get to. Ortiz, it definitely deserves it. Although he did use steroids in his career, which makes it a little hypocritical for the baseball writers to vote him in the first year when there's other guys who we're going to talk about that have not been voted in after 10 years. But yeah, got another round of applause for David Ortiz.
I said, Poppy, can he play baseball? He said, man, can he play baseball?
All right, well,
Amazing career,
but we got to move on to the stuff that matters. No offense.
Problems.
No offense, but we got some problems here. What's the Hall of Fame ridiculous, because then we have the second highest vote getter, Barry Bonds, coming in at 66%, and he falls off the ballot after 10 years. This is where the issue with Hall of Fame voting occurs. Baseball writers can't seem to accept the fact that Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer before he took steroids and before all the steroid stuff came out.
Never confirmed that he took steroids.
I was about to say, never actually admitted to steroids. But he was still a Hall of Famer regardless, even before. It was near the end of his career that made it a lot more public. They can't seem to get over it. But they do like to vote for David Ortiz, who also used steroids in his career. Bonds is the best hitter of all time, arguably. And something with voting needs to be changed. Do you have any ways you think voting for Hall of Fame could be changed in the next few years?
Oh, well, that's a loaded question. I definitely think that the association that does vote in Hall of Famers at the moment is a little bit outdated. I think it should be a process, a year-round process of finding people who deserve to vote on who gets into the Hall of Fame, not some of the older players, the older writers who don't understand the game as they once did and who don't care that much. I mean, there are a bunch of people who sent in blank ballots. There are a bunch of people who didn't use their 10 votes. I mean, I can understand not using the 10 votes, but, like, at least send in something. Like, don't just send back the Hall of Fame a blank ballot. It's just like a giant middle finger. I think that just as we treat it in sports when players don't show up to a game, they should be penalized for not showing up to do what they're told to do what they're tasked to do. I mean, Barry Bonds is the biggest issue, like you just mentioned. Another issue, Roger Clemens, all-time Cy Young winner. And then if you want to go back further than that, we have Pete Rose. I mean, all these players are so great, and they're kept out of the Hall of Fame.
But the only difference with Pete Rose is he actually signed a contract that banned him from baseball and kept him out. Yeah. He kept himself out of the Hall of Fame, which, I mean, evidently is MLB's fault for making him sign this if he wanted to stay in the companies and all that. But at the end of the day, that was his fault, and it wasn't for steroids. It was a little different. But the steroids it's an issue. It's an issue. I agree with what you said. The writers just are old, and they aren't well versed in today's baseball. I mean, they might be well versed, but it's different to be well versed than to have the mind of someone who watches baseball, and the younger generation, which is seemingly more important now. I mean, the system could be changed. I think they could change it to like top 3 vote getters getting in. I mean, instead of the 75%, so you always have someone going in, unlike last year when no one was voted in.
Yeah, I like that idea, but at the same time, you have to remember that the Baseball Hall of Fame is the most prestigious Hall of Fame in sports. And I mean, I can understand why they have that threshold, but I do agree that there needs to be a way that these all-time great players can get in.
But that's what I'm trying to say, is that maybe they should take a little bit of the prestigious away just to make it a little more fair. Because some of, like you said, some of the greatest players of all time aren't in the Hall of Fame, which is odd because why is it called a Hall of Fame if the best players aren't in it?
Yes,
And I
without
think
a doubt.
the easiest way to solve that is to guarantee that the people who get the most votes on that year's ballot get in.
Get in. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. And just to riff more about the steroid era in general here, Alex and I have been to the Hall of Fame before. We've been to Cooperstown. It's absolutely beautiful. And, don't get me wrong, could not appreciate the town more. It's beautiful. If you ever get the chance to go, you have to go. And the way that I view baseball and the way that many, many, many other players and people view baseball is you can't, if a player is so significant to baseball that you can't tell the story of baseball without them, then they belong in that Hall of Fame. I mean, Barry Bonds' jersey that he hit number 752 or whatever it was, like to pass Hank Aaron or something like that. That jersey's in the Hall of Fame, but Barry Bonds himself isn't, and that blows my mind. Maybe the solution is sectioning off a part for the steroid era of baseball, but then does that get dicey,
I guess what the thought is that the like the jersey, like you said, that was hit, that he was wearing when he hit it, that was put in by Major League Baseball, and I guess the Hall of Fame itself. Barry Bonds is voted in by the writers, so it's not like the Hall of Fame puts him in. It's not like they're not acknowledging him. Like, he was still on the ballot and everything. He just didn't.
I'm talking about his legacy, not about him. I mean, Barry Bonds, you can't tell the story of baseball without Barry Bonds. I just don't think that it's right to keep him out of the Hall of Fame.
Right. I agree. His stuff's in the Hall of Fame. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But I mean, at the end of the day, he
It's one steroid allegation.
Just one steroid allegation. You got guys like Ortiz who have also had allegations for steroids. I mean, guy went from the Twins hitting like 12 home runs to like the Red Sox the next year hitting like 43. Like, come on.
Yeah, mashing.
Like, oh yeah, he woke up one day and decided, you know what, I'm gonna be one of the greatest power hitters of all time.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not how that works. Nothing to discredit him.
I mean, still a great career. We're not trying to riff on
discredit him. I'm not saying it just because I'm a Yankee fan. I'm just saying in general, how is it fair for David Ortiz if it's not fair for Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens and Schilling and everyone?
Sammy Sosa.
Sosa's a bit of a different story because, well, like this year Sosa got let's see, 18.5% of the votes. He wasn't even like anywhere near. I think that it was a given. Everyone knew he wouldn't be close. But
I know, but I'm just mentioning popularized steroid users.
A-Rod, who we'll get into him later.
Yeah.
But yeah, Barry Bonds. I mean, you look at his career numbers: 298 batting average, 444 on base, a 1.051 on OPS for his career, which is incredible. 762 home runs, all-time record. 1996 RBIs, 514 stolen bases, 688 intentional walks,
It's more than the Tampa Bay Rays have in their organization.
2,558 walks and a 162.7 WAR. He leads MLB history in home runs, intentional walks, and he's a 7-time MVP. And he's one of two
And we'll
players.
never-
He's one of two players with a 40-40 season with home runs and stolen bases. You know who the other one was? His father, Bobby Bonds. Or I don't know if it's his father. I think it's his father, right? Bobby Bonds.
I believe so, but I don't want to go out on record in saying that.
Okay.
And I mean, also the only member part of the exclusive 500 home run, 500 stolen bases club.
Yes. Ridiculous. And
Mind-boggling.
something needs to change. It's an issue with the writers, and I think it's been brought to light obviously recently too. But I was watching it. I was in a gym watching a girls varsity basketball game, and in the middle I was watching the Hall of Fame's announcement, and he said the guy whatever on the Hall of Fame committee or Cooperstown whatever. The second he said one member joining them, my head was in my hands because I knew it was going to be Ortiz. Because the ballots
you
that were
texted
put
me
out,
right when he
Ortiz,
said that.
It was unbelievable. Cause
I was sitting on the couch upstairs and I knew it as soon as he said it too.
I wrote down about here. Let's see, about 30 minutes before the announcement. I wrote down that Barry Bonds should be on the ballot this year. Like, I thought he was going to be on the ballot this year. And I legitimately did think...
He was on the ballot.
No, you know what I meant. Like, he was going to be voted in.
Yes, okay.
And I legitimately thought it. And because from all the votes that came out, he was very close. And I lost faith. And like you said, a big issue with it is the blank ballots, which needs to be addressed. Not using all 10 votes is okay if you don't think 10 people are worthy, but you can't send in a blank ballot. It's ridiculous.
I agree with that. I mean, even if you vote for one guy, like I bet you if the Writers Association came out and said, okay, no more blank ballots, there's going to be that random player who does get 10 votes.
Or they'll send in a ballot that's like Carl Crawford, and that's it.
Yeah, it's like a write-in or something. Like,
no, a
just
guy,
be ridiculous.
Carl Crawford got 0% of the vote this year. He didn't get a single vote, but there were probably writers who just throw him on. Just one person, just him.
I think, so one thing that I discussed with a few of my friends is, what if a select group of players and a select group of owners just got to vote? And it changed every year. The players, the owners, and the players including former and current players. As long as your name's not on the ballot, you can vote. You have the chance of being selected to vote.
I don't know if I like the idea of current players doing it. And I think it does depend who's on the ballot with the former players voting. Because obviously, if you don't like playing against the guy, or you know a guy and you don't like him, that could be an issue when voting.
Yeah, I mean that was something
very
that
touchy.
that I
but it's
mentioned.
the same thing with the writers. If the writers don't like the guy, they could bias vote and not vote him, even they know he deserves it. I guarantee you, every single baseball writer that didn't vote for Barry Bonds knew Barry Bonds deserved to be a Hall of Famer.
I mean, if you show the numbers, there's no reason as to why he shouldn't be a Hall of Famer.
It's ridiculous. But if we want to move on to the next highest vote getter, right behind Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, 65.2%, also fell off the ballot. It's kind of much like Bonds, also one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Before steroids. Yeah, I mean 7 Cy Youngs. One MVP. He won an MVP as well.
As a pitcher.
Yeah, it's the same. Him and Bonds, their percentages have gone up over the years, like significantly, but it just was never enough.
I mean, if they give another 5 years, I bet you eventually one of them would hit the 75%.
Eventually, yes, but we just gotta pray for the committees to vote them in.
Yeah. Here we go.
I mean, just if you think about that, the guy with the most Cy Youngs ever and the MVP isn't in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yes, we're still just Roger Clemens. Yeah, I mean Roger Clemens, class act, really a great pitcher. I mean, I don't know if you saw what he released out on Instagram. I mean,
I did
really
not.
well put out. It was just like a thank you to all the fans for the support and everything. You know, he was very professional about it, which is a little sad because it would have been a lot nicer for his next Instagram post to be him holding his own Hall of Fame plaque. But what are you gonna do?
I mean, yeah, and Clemens, I'll read off some numbers because I like the stats. 3.12 ERA, 118 complete games in his career. That man went to pitch 118 games and finished 118 games. 46 of them were shutouts. 3.09 FIP, a 1.173 WHIP, 4,672 strikeouts, and a 139.2 WAR. He was a Triple Crown, two-time Triple Crown winner for pitchers, which is led the league in wins, ERA, and strikeouts. And he was one of those great guys that you love to play with him, but not against him.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
another
just,
all-time
it's
great.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and he didn't have any real like full controversy like I guess we'll go to Kurt Schilling. Like him, he 58.6%. We knew he wasn't gonna get it. He fell off the ballot. It's a very interesting story because he went up through ups and downs. A lot of political stuff. He fell off the he asked to be taken off the ballot. Obviously they didn't, but his percentage last year was 71% in 2021. So it was more than likely that he might have gotten in this year, but he wanted to be off the ballot, and as a result, 58.6% of voters only voted for him as opposed to 71. It's very political. I don't really want to talk about it because I don't want to get too much into the politics. But that's really where that stems.
See, now let me just ask you, if we loop back around here. Obviously, if Barry Bonds went into the Hall of Fame, he would have gone in as the San Francisco Giant. No question. What team would Roger Clemens have went under as?
I want to say Yankees.
Because, I mean, he had great seasons everywhere.
I also saw an Instagram post today that said he said something about the Yankees. Who are we talking about? Roger Clemens. Yeah, he it was a post that said, would you rather see, we're a little biased on this, but would you rather see Trout win a World Series with the Yankees or never win a playoff game in his career?
Yeah, I mean, I saw that post as well. I did comment on it, saying I would love for Trout to win a World Series.
I said the same thing because we're a little biased. But looking at Clemens, I mean, it looks like either Boston or New York.
Yeah.
And I kind of lean Boston, seeing how long he was there.
I agree with you.
And he won his MVP
I think he would have
and
won
his Cy Young
Boston.
and 2 of his World Series with them.
Yes, I 110% agree with you.
But yeah, I mean,
but there is a debate for the Yankees. I mean, I've seen it online a little bit, but it's not as strong as if he were to be on the Red Sox.
I was debating them just now. I mean, obviously, he won. He wasn't really on the Yankees for as long as I kind of not thought, but like as it kind of seemed like he was on the Red Sox for a lot longer and had some of his greatest years on the Red Sox.
Yeah, without a doubt. But then again, I mean, a lot of players, especially back then, always wanted to be a Yankee, and it's still today. And there are plenty of players now that have admitted that if they were to go into the Hall of Fame one day, they would try to go in as Yankees. I mean, there's something to be said about it. But definitely, I think Clemens also would have won in as a Red Sox.
Yeah.
Especially next to Big Papi.
Mm-hmm. And then Schilling could have went under a lot of different ones, maybe Angels.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we want to get onto the non-controversial guys, because that's pretty much the controversy, steroids. You guys know the drill. Everyone knows the drill. If you're a baseball fan, you know what's going on here. But the non-controversial ones that you might not fully know about. Scott Rowland, 63.2% of the voting.
Shame.
His 5th year on the ballot. It looks like he might get it by the time he reaches his 10th year.
Hope so.
He's got a lot of significant progress over the years. Philly, he was on the Phillies, the Cardinals, the Reds. Played 17 seasons. Rookie of the Year, 1997. 7-time All-Star, 8-time Gold Glove winner. One of the best third basemen to ever do it, but very underrated. Yeah. He hit 316 home runs in his career, 517 doubles. Had a 21.2 defensive WAR, which is really good. And then just a 70.1 WAR. I mean, there's not really too much of an argument against him being in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, third base, I think, is the least represented position in the Hall of Fame at the moment. And, I mean, he was definitely one of the all-time great third basemen. He really played his heart out from what I have seen, and I mean, the numbers back it up. He was just, like, he was the embodiment of a great player, because there was never a time where you would count out Scott Rowland playing the hot corner.
Yeah.
I mean, just it's a shame that he hasn't done it yet.
Yeah,
yes, he completely deserves it.
He'll be in the next couple of years. I don't think there's too much to worry about that for him. Then another guy, Todd Helton, 52%. Been on the ballot for 4 years, so maybe he can get there. He needs a few big jumps. Also definitely deserves it. He went from 29% in 2019 to 44.9% last year, and now he's 52. So he's making big jumps. So if he can continue to do that, he should get to the 75%, barring that the voting stays the same. He wasn't a player with controversy. I mean, his career, I'll read some numbers. It's kind of hard to deny that these aren't Hall of Fame numbers because they are. I mean, his career, 316 batting average, 414 on base, 953 slugging, 369 home runs. Nice. 1406 RBIs, 592 doubles, 2,519 hits, and a 61.8 WAR, 5-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glover, 4-time Slugger. I mean,
the numbers speak for themselves once again.
Then he fully deserves it. I know a lot of people say the Coors effect because obviously he was a Rocky, played in Coors Field. But as we could see from Nolan Arenado this year, does Coors really improve that much? I mean, Nolan had a great year too in St. Louis.
Yeah. I mean, then the counter argument for that is that Nolan Arenado is just a great baseball player.
Okay, but so is Todd Helton. He just never moved.
Yeah,
teams.
I know.
He just never moved teams. I mean,
and also have to remember that even though you play for the Rockies, half your games are still not in Coors Field.
Exactly. It's a very misconception between people.
Yeah. It'd be different if you played full seasons at a time at home.
Yeah, and I was looking at like his baseball reference page earlier. I didn't realize how much he actually deserved the 2000 MVP. NL MVP. Yeah. So he played 160 games. So we only missed 2 games the entire season. He batted .372 with a .463 on base and a 1.162 OPS. He hit 42 home runs, 147 RBIs, which led the league. His batting average, OBP, and his slugging and OPS all led the league. He led the league in RBIs with 147. Hits with 216, doubles with 59, and total bases with 405. And he came 5th in MVP voting in 2000. 5th.
Shame.
Leading the league in that many categories.
Remind me again who won the award that year?
Jeff Kent. A guy who only received 32.7% of the voting in his 9th year on the ballot. But
he played baseball?
It's one of the biggest snubs. What'd you say?
Can he play baseball? Just for anybody wondering at home also, I can't hear that.
Yeah, you can't hear when the soundboard goes off, so it's just kind of him guessing.
Yeah, it's a very awkward silence for me.
It's alright. Soon we'll get it under control. Maybe we'll be in the
Figure
same
that
room
one out.
for this, which would be
Eventually.
very nice. And then the rest of the ballot, we don't need to go too far in depth. A couple of the guys I want to. Billy Wagner, 51% in his 7th year. Could get it with some big jumps. Don't see it likely.
Oh, let me stop there. So, I've had a discussion with one of our friends about Billy Wagner, and the problem that I think a lot of the baseball writers might have is that every relief pitcher, like middle inning closer type pitcher, is always compared to Mariano Rivera. And from
Which is an
what I
issue.
would assume, yeah, it's a huge issue because there's a difference between being a Hall of Famer and then being a unanimous Hall of Famer that was the best to ever do it.
Mariano is above the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's in a class of his own. His own lead type
It's the
thing.
reason he was the only unanimous.
Yeah, I mean, it's not fair to compare other players to him because there will never be another Mariano Rivera.
Oh, I
That's
agree.
just my
I
little
agree.
riff on Billy Wagner.
Yeah, no, his numbers certainly seem like just get scraping in, but it doesn't look like 7th year, 8, 9, 10. He's got 3 more years. Could happen with some big jumps. We'll see. Andrew
But
Jones.
it's a long stretch.
Andrew Jones, 41.1% in his 5th year. He deserves it,
110%, man.
but it's getting emotional. It could happen. It could happen. He's at 41%, 5th year. He's got some time.
See, it could. I really just wish it would have happened by now. I mean, Andrew Jones. You can't
No, he
talk
didn't
defense and
have-
not mention Andrew Jones.
Exactly, but like we said, the baseball writers are out of touch and stupid, so they don't. They just look at the offensive numbers, and if they're not up to par with Babe Ruth, if they don't let Barry
You can't
Bonds
hit
in,
him.
I mean, how the hell is Andrew Jones gonna get in?
Yeah.
But he certainly deserves it. 5th year, got some time. Guy who doesn't have time, Gary Sheffield, 40.6% in his 7th year. Doesn't look like he'll get in, which
Another
is unfortunate.
shame.
I mean, he could make giant jumps, but I don't see it happening.
A long shot. I
Yeah.
mean, the problem with the Hall of Fame is that the voting, all the players on it have a great argument to get in. They all do. It's now you're nitpicking. It's trying to find a needle in a haystack, but you didn't bring a metal detector.
Yeah. Oh wow, I never thought of that.
What?
Bringing
A metal detector?
to find a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, I say that all the time. Whenever someone's like, "Oh, what? You're gonna think that you can hit that from all the way back here? That's like finding a needle in a haystack." Oh, well, I have a magnet.
Exactly. If you got, I actually, ow.
Nope.
I've never heard that. I guess that's a good one.
Yeah.
Big guy here. A-Rod.
Oh,
34.3% in his first year. I do think he'll get in by the end of the 10 years.
I
Unless something
pray he
insane
gets
happens. No, he will. Considering he got 34 in his first year, he'll make it unless, like I said, something crazy happens. First of all,
A-Rod. Go.
how does
please.
David Ortiz be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but A-Rod isn't? They're in the same boat. I get that A-Rod got popped twice and he admitted it.
He's
Still one of the
loved,
best
too.
players of all time.
I mean, just shy of 700 career home runs.
They've both been in media since they retired. They've both been trying to get baseball
They're
writers
huge
to love
media
them.
personalities.
And, baseball writers don't just vote on the stats anymore. So, I mean, he's done everything he can to be in the
Baseball.
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. Perfect use.
But yeah, he'll get there. I'm not worried.
I really hope so.
Unless we
but
get
then,
to year 5 and he's at 40%, then I'll be a little worried.
So then that poses the question: what about Manny Ramirez? He was on the ballot.
Yeah, he got
He also got popped
28.9
twice.
28.9% in his 6th year. He's not getting in.
Yeah.
He's been on the ballot for six years. He's at 28.9%. He's not getting in.
Like I said earlier, though, it's nitpicking the best of the best from the best players.
Right. Who else do we got? Omar Vizquel, 5th year, 23.9%. Not looking good for him. unless he
Great
makes
defensive player.
big jumps. Yeah, great defense. Sammy Sosa, we already talked about. He's off the ballot. Andy Pettitte on his third year, 10.7% of the vote. I don't think he'll get in, which is a shame.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Another steroid guy. I think that's the main reason.
Andy Pettitte was my favorite pitcher of all time. I love the guy. I wish I could see him in Cooperstown.
Yeah, I hate to tell you, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Don't just la 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 la.
Jimmy Rollins, 9.4% first year. I guess we'll see where that goes. Bobby Abreu, 8.6% in his fourth year. He won't get it unless something big happens.
Yeah.
Mark Burley, 5.8% in his second year. Don't think he'll get it. I mean, he was close to falling off the ballot. Same thing with Torrey Hunter, 5.3% in his fourth year. Don't think he'll get in either. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people that fell off the ballot. If I counted that right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people that fell off the ballot. All these people got 5 or less percent and they're gone. No Hall of Fame for them. We got Joe Nathan, Tim Hudson, Tim Lincecum, Ryan Howard, Mark Teixeira, Justin Morneau, Jonathan Papelbon, Prince Fielder, AJ Pierzynski, Carl Crawford, and Jake Peavy. I mean, there are some Hall of Fame guys.
We have to hit on 3 right now. Okay, 2. We're going to address 2 at the same time here. Tim Lincecum and Ryan Howard. Amazing careers that were derailed by injury.
Yeah.
Okay?
I mean, Ryan Howard would have been one of the all-time home run leaders had he not.
Yeah, I mean, he would have been up there with Poppy in the same category status. I mean, one hell of a player. It was a shame, especially how he got injured, being the last out of an elimination game and just absolutely derailing his whole career. Same thing for Tim Lincecum. I mean, also getting traded away from the Giants. He was just a stud for the time that he played. Prince Fielder, you can say the same. And then our very own lockdown first baseman, Mark Teixeira.
Sure.
Such a shame that we are not the only 2 people voting because he would have gotten 100% of the vote.
Yeah, I kind of understand why he wasn't voted.
Me
although
too.
he was an insane first baseman, but I do think he's maybe Hall of Very Good rather than.
Yeah, he without a doubt. Like, it would blow my
good.
mind.
Hall of
It would blow my mind if he ever got in to the Hall of Fame. But
400 homers.
Almost. I think he has the most ever for a switch hitter.
TEI.
That's me off the top of my head though.
Mark Teixeira. He had 409 home runs.
Yeah, I mean, and when you think about it, also he was part of arguably the best infield in all of baseball history. 2009. I mean, the man could make a diving play, get his jersey more dirty and everything than the field that he's playing on, and then step into the box and hit a 3-run home run like it's nothing. An absolute amazing player. I mean, we grew up watching him a little bit. We witnessed some of the best moments of his career, and it's just such a shame that the baseball writers don't view him the same way that we do.
Yeah, I mean, 2009 came second in MVP voting behind Joe.
He should have won over Joe Mauer.
Behind Joe Mauer, but Joe Mauer played 20 less games than him.
Yeah.
If that doesn't say something, I don't know what does.
What are you gonna do?
Although Mauer did have some nice stats. It's come or go. But yeah, I mean, Teixeira off the ballot, along with the 10 other guys on there. Does that end the Hall of Fame talk? I mean, we went over all the guys. We said how the voting's flawed. They could change the voting. We could talk about now potential guys for next year's Hall of Fame.
There
was a graphic posted by MLB on Fox on Instagram.
Oh, are we putting the graphic up on screen?
No.
My bad. Take away those pointers.
We will read it, though. A lot of just kind of mid guys. We got Carlos Beltran, Francisco Rodriguez, Jared Weaver, R.A. Dickey, Matt Cain, John Lackey, Andre Ethier, Jason Worth, Bronson Arroyo, Jacoby Ellsbury, J.J. Hardy,
Yankees legend.
J.J. Hardy, and Johnny Peralta. Honestly, out of that list that I just said, the only person I could see getting in is Carlos Beltran or R.A. Dickey. Those two.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say something about your Carlos Beltran pick. Carlos Beltran was admittedly the forefront and one of the ringleaders for the 2017 cheating scandal with the Astros.
I
I think he'll be used as a. If he doesn't get in, that means that anybody on those Astros teams are gonna get in from 2017 and 2018.
I think he'll get in regardless because he's like.
I mean, he had a
he's
great
another-
career, but is that a flaw in his record?
Well, he's another guy that's like, the name and how long he played is like one of the main reasons he's getting in.
I mean, Jacoby Ellsbury also, he's in the wrong Hall of Fame. He belongs in the Criminal Hall of Fame for the amount of money that he stole from the
New York
Yankees.
I mean, he only played 11 years. He's not getting in. I mean,
And then showed up in Fenway Park with a Red Sox jersey on, like the year after he retired, when the Red Sox were playing the Yankees, and the Red Sox wanted to like congratulate him.
No, it was the Pedroia jersey retirement.
Was it?
Yeah, and they brought Jacoby Ellsbury in.
Oh yeah.
'Cause they were playing
My
the
bad.
Yankees just to piss off the Yankees.
Of
But
course.
whatever. We won
Pedroia,
that
great
game.
player.
We should have won the wild card game. Whatever. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, Beltran. I mean, I think he'll get in. Unfortunately, as much as I don't want him to, he's not gonna get in first year or anything.
He'll be a
maybe
long-winded
eventually.
story.
I hope not, but it
Agreed.
is what it is. I really hope not.
No, I mean you're talking
He is
about
commentating games for Yankees this year. Like
I was just about to say
games.
you're talking about Yes Network all-time great.
Yeah, I mean that should be interesting. Do you think they'll ask him about it at any point? So
I think
you cheated. Tell us about that.
so. I'm thinking it's either going to be on that first game because the Yankees do play the Astros in Minute Maid. I think if they're going to do it, they're going to do it right then and there.
I mean that's
Just be
if
like,
he commentates.
yeah, if he's commentating that game, they're just gonna, like during the game or whatever, show an image of him in the box in a Astros uniform, and I just want Michael K to lean over with the microphone right in his hand and go. So, did you hear the trash can bang on this one? And then just silence.
It would never happen.
No, as much as I want it to.
Probably
It
get in
would.
trouble if he did that.
Yeah, he definitely would.
But yeah, and then Beltran, and then the other one, R.A. Dickey. I'll get some numbers. He's not. Okay, so 4.04 career ERA. 1,400, almost 1,500 strikeouts. I don't think he'll get in, if I'm being honest. Just by the eye test of the numbers. I don't think he'll get in.
I mean, another one that might fall into the Hall of Very Good.
Yeah. Very good might even be a stretch.
Yeah, he would be like a 10th ballot, very good guy.
Yeah, wasn't great.
Agreed.
I mean, he was
think
good, but
it's
he
just.
wasn't great.
I think he's just on there to satisfy Mets fans.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, sounds about right. I mean, he didn't.
All right.
And then other guys, the other guy's just kind of boring.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, you want to move over to the topic of the hour?
I do. MLB Lockout.
Oh, we're doing a soundbite.
Well,
I was like,
talking right during it doesn't help.
Okay, well, wait, do it again.
All right, we'll try that again. All right.
No.
So we got lockout news. The MLB PA and MLB, the owners and everything, met on Tuesday. More CBA negotiations. They're still
90 minutes of CBA negotiations.
Yeah, but they're still far apart. It's been said that nothing really came of it at all.
Apparently, there was yelling in the meeting. I read something that players and owners were yelling at each other, along with actual players and owners participating within the meeting, which is interesting.
I believe it. There was never going to be a deal.
Especially not on Tuesday.
The Players Association dropped their request for pre-arbitration from $105 million to $100 million. $5 million. different.
Oh.
But the owners are stubborn, and they didn't even counteroffer. It was said that they were going to counteroffer sometime this week. Well, probably either today or tomorrow, which would be Friday. They were supposed to counteroffer, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. As just a couple hours ago, it was revealed that they put in a request to hire a mediator. And what that basically is a person who's hired a third party to improve communications between the two sides. It would focus more on like finding a middle ground of a deal rather than just counteroffer after counteroffer. Counteroffer after counteroffer.
Where there's no movement whatsoever.
Right.
This mediator has to be stronger than anybody else on Earth to pull these two giant rocks together.
It's happened before in previous
lockouts, yes.
Negotiation troubles. It's a good idea. It's good media for the owners and for the players. The only thing is the Players Association would have to approve of it before it can be allowed. So we have to wait for that news. It puts the owners in a good spot because if the Players Association denies it, the owners can be like, well, we tried to make it easier to negotiate this. I think the players are going to accept it, and I think maybe we might get the ball moving a little bit with a mediator.
Yeah. Something tells me the spin rate's going up on this one.
Yeah, they're using some spider tack now.
There it is. Woo!
They got the sticky.
The
yeah, the old Garrett Cole special. They got that going now, hopefully. But as for that, we just kind of have to wait for the mediator. It's a federal mediator, so it's like a big thing. It's not just kind of like a third-party company.
Yeah, big guy, big fancy suit type of guy.
Yeah, and so far, I mean, the main issues are all economical. The main areas that have been agreed on, I mean, universal DH is happening. The Players Association agreed to a 12-team playoff format. But the owners want 14, but the players are saying 12. The owners also proposed putting patches on the sides of uniforms, or I don't really know exactly, maybe here kind of what NBA does, or maybe here with logos or advertising, which I would hate. It's just another way for them to make money. I would hate that. It would just make the uniform look not authentic. The Nike logo I don't mind because that's the people who make the jerseys. The companies have nothing to do with making the jerseys. It's just solely for money. I wouldn't enjoy that.
Okay, well, the reason why I say it depends is because I don't want baseball jerseys to be like soccer jerseys, where you have to buy a new one every other year basically because the name on the front and center of the jersey changes. That obviously would never happen. I just hope that if it's a patch, so what, put it here, but then when you're selling the jersey, don't put the patch on. I think that's a perfect way to go about it. I mean, it's not going to take away from the game if they have a Clorox patch on their sleeve.
But how disgusting would that look?
Yeah,
what if you see a guy on the let's pick a random team, the Mariners, and he's got a Skittles logo on the side of his uniform.
Pretty funny.
That would look terrible. It just kind of ruins the uniform. Uniforms are clean for a reason. Putting a random ass patch on them.
I mean, there's a reason why baseball jerseys are the most worn jerseys, and it's not just because of their design, of the fact that they're the only jerseys that you can casually wear, but it's because unlike basketball, soccer, and all that, and hockey even, there's not just these random sponsorships thrown onto the jersey.
Yeah, it puts it, and there was a lot of controversy with the Nike logo, although I think it looks fine. But
yeah,
the
controversy.
They're the ones making the freaking jerseys. What
yeah,
are you gonna do?
And I mean, this looks gorgeous. This looks absolutely beautiful. And the check kind of just brings it all together. Because I would hate for it to just be blank space. Because now when I'm sitting here, imagine now it just looks like I'm wearing a T-shirt.
Like this one. This one's the Majestic jersey. This was the year before Nike started taking it over. There's obviously nothing here. Both of them look good. The Nike logo doesn't really affect it.
Yeah, I mean, I have an Eric Hosmer jersey upstairs that I think is my favorite jersey.
Yeah.
Eric Hosmer Padres jersey, by the way.
But yeah, no, I think that's another interesting one that besides the economical full issues is kind of interesting to see. and would be noticed during games, like a lot.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And then both agreed to a draft lottery, which would basically kind of be similar to the
Whoa!
NBA. Be similar to the NBA draft lottery, in the sense that the worst teams would have the best odds of getting a pick, but you could obviously trade for picks and fall down in the lottery and all that. It would be similar. I like it.
It's a lot more
like it.
difficult to pull off. I
And-
mean, not difficult, risky.
It kind of works
pull
out
off.
for both the players and the owners. Like the players, obviously, the worst teams, there's no tanking. Well, it would lessen tanking. Obviously, you get better odds, but as we've seen from the NBA in past years, the odds don't guarantee that you will get the pick you want. So it would take away tanking a little bit, and for the owners, it's another event to put on TV, and it's actually a pretty fun event. It means a lot. So hopefully,
if they do it right on TV, I'll sit and watch it every year.
yeah, I mean, hopefully that continues to make the draft more important, because in past years, not lately. Lately, it's been building that the drafts are meaning more and everything, but like past years, the drafts barely anyone watched them or anything.
Yeah, no one cared until they made the big leagues.
Yeah, but I think this is another step in making the actual MLB draft more important to people.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. But yeah, 10 months of negotiating, and then not much total progress has been made.
I mean, one thing that I want to touch up upon that I find interesting, and I've been reading a lot of articles about this, is the arbitration bonus money pool that the players and the owners have been fighting about.
That's the 100 million.
I know. I love the idea of it. I just don't think that the owners would ever agree to it. I think that's something that really needs to be done in a more proper way, because at the end of the day, what one anonymous owner said to, I think it was a CBS Sports article, that why should he be paying for another owner's player doing great, which
Yes.
is understandable.
Yeah, I get it. I also don't think that they're just going to agree to it. I think that's another big thing with the negotiations. That's the biggest part of the negotiations that's pulling them apart. Obviously, they offered 10 million. They want 100 million. That's a 90 million difference. That's the difference between baseball and not baseball right now. Is $90 million, which is a lot of money.
Not that much.
For MLB, maybe not, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a pretty big sum of money. Obviously, if you don't really know what that exactly means, the bonus pool money is it would basically, the players with the top 30 WAR who haven't gotten to arbitration yet would get offered more money in arbitration. So basically, pays the best young players in baseball more money at the end of the day.
Yeah,
which is what the
honestly,
Players Association wants.
the younger players who are in arbitration deserve the money, especially for teams like the Jonathan Indias of the world, who they probably generated more money than their contract is worth, or even doubled it, just by being the Rookie of the Year.
And from what I understand, it would be the pool, so it would be 100 million divided, not evenly, but it would be divided among the top 30. So 100 million split into 30 different various parts is a lot different than 10 million being split into various different amounts. It's a lot different amounts of money to work with.
No, I completely agree with you.
So it is big, and that's where a lot of it stems from.
Yeah, I mean, also one thing that I love that both sides agreed upon: universal DH. I especially love it. I especially love it because now Kyle Schwarber can get out of the American League.
Oh, he'll be on the Brewers. He's such a Brewers player.
He is a Brewers player indeed. I could see the Cardinals having him too. That's a very big long shot, but I mean the Cardinals need a lefty power bat.
The only reason I say Brewers is because he reminds me of, they had Eric Thames, they had Vogelback, He just seems
he's just a
seems like
Brewers guy.
Yeah, like big and bulky, and strong power hitter.
Big, bulky, and get shit done, for
Yeah.
lack of a better word.
So I love that. Like all the big DHs, it expands their teams from 15 to 30. It doubles their team choices.
Yeah, they could probably find more money now, which good for the players.
Yeah. That's it for Lockout. For now, we have to wait till the Mediator is approved by the Players Association, and then maybe we'll get the ball rolling a little bit more.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about this last topic? Because it's a pretty touchy subject.
I think we should tiptoe through it because it is something in the baseball world that I think we all have to talk about.
Okay, I'll break it down here. So, Tyler Skaggs obviously passed away on July 1st, 2019, to what was found to be a mix of various controlled substances in his body, which caused him to choke on his own vomit. He was 27 years old, and the former Angels employee, Eric K, is going is about to go through a criminal trial, in connection to his Tyler Skaggs' death. There's 7 former Angels players going to testify. So the list would be Garrett Richards, Matt Harvey, C.J. Cron, Blake Parker, Michael Morin, and Cam Bedrosian, and Andrew Heaney. He's facing a felony for K is facing a felony for distributing said controlled substances, which led to Skaggs' death. He's facing 20 years in prison if he's convicted. Garrett Richards testifying that he approached him about acquiring one of the controlled substances. Matt Harvey, C.J. Crone, Blake Parker, Michael Morin, and Cam Bedrosian are all testifying just about their interactions with Kay and how he provided Skaggs with these substances. And then Heaney is testifying, an interesting one, his attempts to contact Skaggs on the day of his death and just provide more information. Obviously, I find it very interesting. I don't want to talk about it too much just because of the nature of the situation, but it is something that has to be said because it is going on in the baseball world. Obviously, it's a very sad situation.
Without a doubt.
But we will see developments in it in the next couple of weeks.
Yes, and of course, rest in peace, Tyler Skaggs. A player taken from the game way too soon.
Way too soon. Hopefully they can continue to crack things down and get this out of baseball, this type of stuff.
110% agree with you. It's a real shame.
Yeah, I think that's all we should say on that.
Yes, I agree.
But moving on, let's get to a different tone here. A new segment, our first ever official segment on this podcast. Wait for the soundbite. Ready?
Make sure you do your homework.
Homework. So from now on, we got a homework segment. We're gonna be ending every episode with a homework question, and then we're gonna be leading off the next episode with our respective answers to that question. The first question here, first ever homework assignment. If you have one ticket to attend any Major League Baseball game ever, which game are you going to? That is the question that we're going to be doing for our first official homework.
It could be any game, and you're going back with the knowledge that you have right now. You're not going back in time. You're not, unaging yourself or anything.
Yeah,
as you
we'll
are right now.
So yeah, me and Lewis are going to be giving our answers next episode. Obviously, if you have an answer, you can put it in the comments. But we will be giving ours in the beginning of next episode. Hopefully that segment can continue. We'll look for new questions each episode. But yeah, you gotta
make sure you do your homework.
Make sure you do your homework.
Do the homework.
And yeah, that's pretty much all we got for today. I'm trying to think of baseball events. I believe the Dominican League or one of the leagues, Mexican League, Dominican
the
League,
World Series.
Dominican League. They're like World Series going on right now. Pretty cool. I'm not really watching it, but I will see who wins and everything. I guess that's cool.
Oh, that's definitely a YouTube highlights type of game.
Yeah.
Just because we're not well versed in that.
I think
area.
Joe's McFly is streaming it. So I've been
Oh,
watching his streams, him reacting to it. But there's
So
some good
I'm
players.
gonna pop in.
Cano, I can't think of anyone else right now, but Cano's in it. Tortuga.
No, Tortuga guy.
Yeah.
I mean, his dance that I saw on Twitter this morning.
Yeah, I saw that too. That's why I remember.
Him just on first base. At first, I thought that he hit a triple. I will admit, when I saw the video, I thought that he hit a triple, and then I realized, oh, that's definitely first base.
Yeah, that's. I mean, baseball. That's the.
Baseball.
That's the only baseball we got going on here.
Can I close it out today? I want to close this out today.
Go for it.
All right, thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Am I getting cut off right now by a soundbite?
No.
Thank you everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to do your homework in the comment
Make sure
section
you do your
below.
homework.
Tune in for next episode when we give our answers and we hopefully have some more good news on the CBA.